we keep moving. But obviously, like I said, so obviously, a highlight is can vulnerability look good in masculinity, or
Yeah,
can
or
masculinity
is
for vulnerability,
masculinity? Yeah, exactly.
for
It's
vulnerability?
vulnerability, or can vulnerability be masculinity? I say, yeah, it can. You're only weak if you don't show that strength in yourself of being compassionate, caring, and giving. I think most men are like that,
Yeah,
strangely enough, but they don't
I know.
show it as much. Like, what's your take on that, Sage? What are you saying?
I think what it is, when I look at masculinity and vulnerability is a form of courage to enter authenticity. And I think what it is
Yeah,
like
that's right.
a lot of men struggle to enter authenticity because vulnerability is a form of act, it's a form of practice as well. And one must be honest with
That's
themselves
true.
consistently to be honest with others.
That's true.
So,
That's
so,
true.
I mean the conversation we had a while back here. So I'm going to use the Friday analogy from the movie Friday.
Mm,
Neil Long's character saying to Smokey, "Hey, I got a girl for you. You know, she's like beautiful. She's like Janet Jackson." And it's like, "Oh, really? Swear down. I love that. I love that." So it's like fantasy versus expectation. So
yeah.
when you see the expectation meet the fantasy, it's like they're clashing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Go on.
that's when reality kicks in. So
Okay.
like I said, so basically when a woman says like, "Oh, look, a man who shows his tears versus like emotion," when we show it, it's like the reality kicks in. Like, whoa, I was not expecting this. So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
I
Then it
was not
becomes
expecting.
a battle, like not a battle, but like a kind of, as you said, even a female has to respect. They ask for vulnerability from men, but when they do become vulnerable, what ends up happening? Oh, he seems weak.
But
That not all females,
yeah, yeah,
not
yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
definitely not. I'm
yeah,
not categorizing to all,
yeah.
but you get that one. You know what I'm saying? You always get that odd. You get me? That odd feedback from a female that thinks, but maybe they're too masculine. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? I was about to say that as well
There you
because
go.
I was about to say that. I was going to add on because maybe not a man thing because maybe society now women are struggling to show their vulnerability to a man.
They are because women tend to be strong these days because they have no choice but to be due to the expectation of men not showing up. But not only men, I guess it's, yeah, I don't know, man. I come from a single family household, so I understand that from a woman point of view.
Yeah.
And that's relatable to a lot of men or families who, or yeah, specifically men or women who come from the household. So it makes sense why they have to show the over masculinity, not because they wanted to compensate, almost like they were forced to, if that makes sense.
I think when you just add on, like, you said about the single parent, you look at that model what you just said earlier.
Yeah, go on, go on.
Like, what I heard and I'm gathering is vulnerability is a form of opening up to show up. So one
That's
must learn
fact.
to open up.
That's
So
fact.
if one has not
Believe.
been taught how to open up, one cannot show up in certain ways. So
Mm.
I'm gonna go further deeper. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean,
Get deep with
so
this.
what I mean by open up is like a man can't open up here because he's never been taught how to open up, or express his emotion in a certain way that's actually healthy. So a form of like
Mm.
breaking down.
Okay, okay.
Again, these are like society social constructs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Of
That's right. It is a soul more so than integrated in our personality. But continue. Sorry,
yes.
my G.
No, so I apologize. So what I mean by that is just well, I look at that open up because again, Jamaican, Ghanaian heritage, African, Black, Caribbean. You know what I mean? We never been taught to open up. We never been taught. I mean, listen.
That's true. That's true. No, that's definitely a
So
heritage thing. That's true.
yeah. I
Facts.
mean, I
Facts.
mean, so I don't think I've seen my father ever cry in his life, and I think
Even my father, I agree with you. No, no, I'm gonna play just
yeah,
coincide with that one. Yeah, that makes sense.
like
Yeah.
I've never seen him shed tears. I've seen him angry, but I never seen him shed tear. And I
And
think,
anger is a form of tears. It's weird, isn't it? It's mad. Not tears,
yeah,
but that's basically tears. Basically internal tears.
yeah,
Strange, but go on. But I know what you
no,
mean.
but I think what it is, when we look at vulnerability, it's like you gotta learn to show the courage of you can actually show humanity and humility. Like
I like that.
showing
Humility is one of the words. I said, go on, continue to deep. Go on.
no. What about humility is like the aspect of like I'm ready to play the fool. I'm
That's
ready
what I
to
meant.
admit I'm
No,
wrong.
no, that's true. No, that humility is key. In this conversation, humility can maybe, if not our key word, is one of the key words. It's a very fine line between not using that word and actually not and actually acting that word. You got to act out the humility. You can't not act out, practice humility. I mean,
Hmm.
an example, me and you are poets. Going on the stage is almost humility. You might get booed off, or you might get he's all right, he's okay, but
Hey,
that shows our vulnerability as poets, as men
Mhm.
poets. Even if
Yeah.
it's about love, even if it's about family connections, we're showing vulnerability by expressing these subjects, but yet people be like, oh, that seems a bit too feminine, you get me? Or he's pandering. It's like, what? Like, no, I learned this from my mum.
Yeah.
Fuck you talk. The hell are you talking about? Yeah, you get me. I don't want to get on that level. I don't want to
No, no,
bring
I
it
can,
to, but you
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean, bro. But
I
go
can
on,
sense
you
the
made that
passion.
point. You were right what you
No,
said.
but I think I know what you said about creativity, because creativity is another form of vulnerability as well. You're sharing your story, you're sharing something that exposes you in a nutshell. I mean, you look at like
That,
certain you look at certain artists, like I don't know, we look at someone like Kendrick or J. Cole or a
yeah,
lot
my
of say.
best artists. They're just top artists of this beat. But go on.
Like, you
Yeah,
know
you
what I
get
mean?
me.
They're storytellers. They're telling stories of what's happening to them. They're opening up to their life. I mean, like, for example, like, you know, you look at Nas's album, Godson. You know, he's letting the world know, like, you know, my mom passed away. I'm
That's
sharing
a
how I
beautiful
feel.
album. Yeah, that was
Like, you
heaven.
know,
If heaven, yeah. If heaven
yeah,
was my
heaven was my way.
yeah, yeah. You
Yeah.
know, you yeah.
Like, he's
You know,
showing that human side of,
that's
like, you know, this is what I'm going through. So let me express my emotion through creativity. And I think what it is, a lot of men have not learned to express vulnerability through creativity. So,
and may I add to that? Because
yeah.
me, you quite deep mind. Like, no, as you're talking, it's like it almost gives that sense of stoicism versus red pill. That kind of talk. Like stoicism is about peace, connection, and finding self acknowledgement. But then when you go to the red pill world, it's all about like, nah, like, don't do that. You're weak. So you're basically challenging an opposing state of mind that was more natural compared to a nuance of like, if you do that, you're weak. If you do that, no girls can respect you. But then that's a girl's problem, not really a stoic problem or a personal
No,
growth problem.
no, but
I
you
mean,
know, I
or
want
vice versa, girl to
yeah,
guy, guy
fine,
to
sorry.
girl. I don't want to say it's a girl's
Yeah,
problem.
but
Sounds a bit
it's
too
not. I
narrow-minded.
wouldn't say it's a woman's problem. It's more like a man's problem because, like I said,
Uh-huh.
stoicism. You know, we practice stoicism. I mean, I look at
Yeah,
Marcus Aurelius' post, Seneca's
same here.
work.
I'm one of the similar ones. Yeah, he's one of my top
Yeah,
tier stories.
yeah.
So,
So like when you look at like stoicism is about regulating your emotions.
uh,
It's
uh,
basically
uh.
processing it. Like even Marcus Aurelius himself, yeah, like you know, there's times he cried, he was breaking down, but he was able to
See,
express the emotions. He was able to regulate.
that
What's
makes
happened
sense.
in a lot of many men who evolve into the mindset of red pill concept, you will enter something
Teach
called a
me.
doctor.
'Cause I don't
You
know this,
enter,
bro. I'm an old man.
yeah, and not that old. I mean, you're into something called
You know that.
you're not old. You're still like you're entering something called a dark triad perspective of the narcissism, the Machiavellian, and the sociopath. So these are like the shadow side of stoicism where you're not being honest with yourself, you're hindering your work as well. You
Mm,
basically, it's like you're putting a mask on, but the question is how long can you hold it until the mask breaks? It's basically like you're putting a
yeah,
character. You're putting a character to a point where
yeah,
someone sees you for who you really are and you're scared because you put this mask for so long, you don't know how to be anything else but that mask. So it's kind of
makes sense.
like
Go
for
on.
example, like I would say from let's just say DC perspective, the Batman
Yeah, yeah,
analogy.
yeah. Let's get
The,
to
the,
heroes and
the,
Mars. Yeah.
the Batman analogy. See, Bruce Wayne becomes Batman to protect others.
Mm,
But he puts a mask to protect others and, you know, to serve humanity. Some people put a mask on to protect themselves, but not really, they don't need to protect themselves. So it's like,
but Batman's still vulnerable. You can make he
he's
makes that
one.
clear. Yeah,
Yeah,
he like even his basic gadgets or his basic element is his principles based on protection. Back to
yeah,
stoicism, but he keeps that real in every format. He's not no super duper strong guy. He ain't got all them powers, but he lets you know I'm vulnerable at every moment, even protecting you lot. I'm coming back with
yeah.
bruises. I'm coming back battered and shit. Like, my butler's telling me, hey man, like take a break. I think you're overdoing it. But the example you're right about Batman is a good example. That's a very good example of vulnerability because he's not saying I've got a shield, I've got all these things. I'm letting you know, even when I don't want to sacrifice, I still sacrifice everything within that. But where if you go to the red pill analogy, these people have a limited and askew view based on. But I don't come from that generation. I learned about red pill, so that's why I don't want to be too judgmental because it might
Yeah.
have a sense of help. But there's a level when I was listening to it, it seemed redundant. It seemed like it was breaking man down instead of making man up. You know what I'm saying?
No, of
So
course.
yeah, no,
I think,
just
I think,
yeah, teach me
I
more
think
about
what
that
it
though.
is, I think like, you know, someone who's actually diving into that concept for years now, but seeing the gap between it, it's more like yes, it teaches you about, having a form of purpose in a man. Every man should have a
Mhm.
purpose. But
Yeah.
however, you shouldn't carry a mask where you have to protect yourself from women. So most men are afraid of women because due to divorces and, oh, she might
Yeah,
leave me
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Makes sense. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I use his ideology. She may take your resources, but she does not take your skills or your ability to gain resources in the first place.
And get more skills. It doesn't
Yeah,
stop you from building. Basically, it doesn't stop you from building. Just like a
yeah,
female says, I don't need that man. And they build on, and they do build. My mum's a strong builder. I'm sure your mum Dukes is a big build. That's what I mean. You can see where the women are strong, but a
yeah.
bit too strong. You're like, hey, calm down a bit, man. Just please go back to something more natural.
But I
But
mean, dude, that's
go on.
that. I mean, that's due to survival instinct as well because it's all. I mean, like I said, like I'm not a relationship, but I had a girlfriend. I'm a
Mhm,
writer, and she leaves me. She may not take out of my money, but she doesn't take my ability to write. I could still
yeah,
write. That's what I
yeah,
mean.
yeah.
Like that, I could still write. I might before her, and I would still write after. So
Mm,
what else
mm,
difference? So I think what it is that it's the concept of the scarce, but also it's the emotional investment. A lot of men are afraid of the emotional connection because what it is like a lot of men when they go for a heartbreak or divorce, they feel like their life's over. It's like they know how to form a new identity without this person.
mm,
By
mm,
starting
mm.
over again, it seems more harder. I mean,
Yeah, it
it's
makes
very
sense.
yeah.
I'm not. Yeah, no, you're right. To add on to that, but don't you think that creates long-term isolation? Just to be fearing the fact that you don't want to start over again, knowing that when you got with the said person, you knew it was at the end when you began with them. Sometimes you could just feel it, but you're so used to being alone that you want to get together, and when you're together, you end up being alone. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah,
know
of
what
course.
I'm saying?
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a concept like the idea of being alone. I mean, like I said, with back to vulnerability. With vulnerability, is like I said, low vibration enters into the higher vibration of a man or man and woman. Like
Mm,
you're
mm,
practicing the art of authenticity or being yourself
mm,
without
mm.
being judged. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
if we look at like the iceberg of I don't know some men or women talk about drinking. Like some people don't know how to be sober without a form of alcohol, but the more they could practice being sober and actually rely on their inner child being goofy, they're realizing, hey, I can actually do it. I mean, for
But
example,
that's how we used to connect with each other, really. Remember, let's play kiss chase. Let's chase. You know what I'm saying? It was natural. There's no elements and smoke or drink. It
yeah,
was you. You were being you in what you felt connected to. You didn't
hmm
deny it. You didn't act like, oh, I don't think she's gonna like me because she only likes the toughest boy in the year. No, I don't work like that. It
no,
weren't those kind of thinking processes. It
no, of
wasn't like
course.
that. Yeah. So I know what you meant by that. But go on, continue.
But I think with like vulnerability is like it requires you to enter a side of you that again the side of you that used to suppress it is actually the side of you that is actually helped you in the long run. Like we looked from a young spectrum to shadow work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Go on.
a lot of men have not done this. I won't say a lot of men, but some men have not done the shadow work. They have not looked in themselves and realized, okay, there's certain sides in me that's actually hindering me. And they also can't confront me.
Facts. No, they're facts though. The lack of expression is the reason why they're in detention. You know what I'm saying? That
Hmm
kind of part. So I kind of know what you mean, and to continue your point on that, because yeah, I want to get deeper with that. But go on.
I think with like I said, with vulnerability, even me myself, it took me years to get used to that word. And I used to panic. I was like, oh man, like if I'm being honest here, how would this person receive me and stuff? So you focus on what the other person is instead of yourself. Me, I got to a point like I just say, hey, this is who I am, this is what I'm about. Take me as I am, but you don't, no big deal. It is what it is. We move on. So it's like but again,
Yeah,
is that mindset of attachment. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
I think a lot of men have the fear of rejection, which
Yeah, most
rejection just
definitely. I mean, I had to happen some. Yeah, anybody. Yeah, or
yeah
anybody. Fear of
yeah
rejection, but men do have that fear just as much in this day and age because of the consistent rejection they get from their opposite counterpart, and and it creates this kind of, I don't know, this barrier of f everybody. Like I don't even want to even mess with that because I ain't trying to get my heart broken, and the underlying stress in men is usually unresolved conflicts or rejections, or you know what I'm saying, which leads to
drama
even more
drama.
pain. And yeah, go on.
I
So
mean, there's other aspects you look at. You got trauma, you got attachment styles as well.
the umbrella does get big on the rain that we don't cry. We
Pretty
don't cry
much.
on that umbrella, but you're right. But you're right. There's a big umbrella to why men have a sense of not limitation. It is limitation because expansion is just to be. But I mean, I can bring that down in many ways. But myself, I said, it only goes back to things that I've done in actually allowing myself to be vulnerable in front of people. And usually, like, I have a cousin and I chat to her randomly, like, and when she picks up, it's like the perfect time for me to be expressive without no filter. And then when I get off the phone to her, there's like a sense of freedom. Shouts out to my cousin Jay, you know what I'm saying? Like, so
Mhm.
that kind of play, but she knows who she be. I won't give her government on there. Yeah, but no, I'll give her a shout out, bro, because if it wasn't for her and that sense of therapy, but I don't know where I'd be that day. But that day, that can last me for weeks of freedom just because I talked to her for an hour, 1 hour, and the rest was, like, yeah, that felt good. So, if you know what I'm saying,
So
like, in that
it's
respect.
funny enough. Funny enough you just said that because it kind of goes back to one of my articles I wrote on Suspect. It's like a man needs a woman in their life. So
Hmm.
like where I think some men have not had found a safe space where they feel
Hmm.
comfortable
Hmm. Hmm.
as well.
Definitely. I agree with that fully. And that's definite. That's why I
So I
felt like,
think
but go on.
yeah. No, I mean, so hearing that, it felt like you found a safe space. I mean, I got auntie as well, and
There you go.
when I'm down, I feel just a safe space for me to feel vulnerable and anything.
That's
Like
what's up. That's what's
it's
up.
like it's created a safety net. It's like what it is with men.
Yeah,
Men
it's
have not found a safe space where they can feel comfortable. They can let their guard down and let the armor down.
yeah,
But I
that's
think
true.
for one man to find that space, one must create that space for themselves in their own ways.
Yeah, yeah.
Practice being the art of vulnerability.
You are right. And the key word you said is practice. It's a lack of practice. That's and like anything. I'm a skateboarder, man. Like, it took me 8 years to get a kickflip. You get me? That's practice, mental, and whatever. I'm not using skateboard as a good analogy to put
Yeah,
other
yeah, but
people
it's not
off.
an
It's an
attitude.
example of you're right. Practice. I don't wake up one day and go, "Hey, I'm stoic. Hey, no one can break my barrier." That takes years and vulnerability specifically. Like I myself, yeah, I've seen a therapist. I spoke to a therapist. My vulnerability was I had lack of sleep, and that made me vulnerable because I was tired making incohesive decisions. I was like, yo, man, I feel kind of overwhelmed, and then that would affect my whole day. But when I went to the therapist, she'd be giving quotes, lyrics, almost like she's an auto listener for me to find my inner winner, if that makes sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, in certain ways. And I think what it
So,
is, like, what we could help with men, like I said, men with vulnerability is where where do you lie with your honesty? Where can you
good
find a
word.
space?
Go on. Exactly. No,
Where
go on.
the line, the honesty, where you find a space, can you be honest with yourself first before you're honest with others?
Mhm.
Like like the form of denial. Like if I look
Key
back
word. No,
in
you said this smashing word. It's definitely in denial. But go on, continue. You're just covering what I'm thinking, but go on.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, because I remember
You're
like if I
saying it
look at
right.
I remember during COVID time, again, this is where a heartbreak can silently mess a man up for his vulnerability. And to the point he feels like he has to be hard and be strong, but not realizing that armor of his he's carrying is too much weight to the point it mentally breaks him.
No,
To the
it's
point
true. Yeah,
he
no,
has
it's
to let
true.
go of it.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I know what you mean. I kind of know what
I
you
don't know,
mean.
I'll be honest with you. I'll be
Because
honest. There's times, yeah, even me sometimes I feel like vulnerability is hard for me. There's times that I have my moments like, yeah, I'm easy, good, yes. But I'm like, especially when it comes
but
to a man and his
I heard
emotion,
your
his love.
poetry. You don't seem like you're weak in vulnerability. You're quite
See,
open. Talk
here's
to
the
me.
thing though.
Talk
I'm
to
gonna
me,
love
man.
you. I'm gonna go further. There's different types of vulnerability. Well, I would say different types. Some people might disagree with this. I think it's types.
Cool. At least you're honest with that, see? Yeah, man. Open up, G.
Yeah.
Open up. Go on.
So, like I said, me, I could admit my wrong. I could admit my ignorance. So, what I mean by that is there's the art, there's vulnerability as an artist perspective,
Mm-hmm.
but there's vulnerability as a human.
Mm.
So, I'm gonna elaborate. So, when I put my poetry up, my notes and anything I perform, that's the artist side of me talking. But
Mm-hmm.
then if I don't know, develop emotion towards a woman, might freak out. I might be scared because it's the unknown.
Understood. Go on. Continue.
That's the unknown. The
Understood.
artist side of me, the artist side of me is not afraid of the unknown side because it's very messy, ready to be judged by the world.
That's facts. So that's vulnerability 101. Go on. Continue.
That's the artist side. It's ready to be judged by the world. But then
But that
when it comes
artist is
to
the man in you, but you're the man projecting that. So that means you're
yeah,
being more of a man than you think. Just go on,
yeah.
continue though.
But then when you look at the human side of like, let's say the concept of love, that side of me is not is afraid of rejection because it's not scared. It's scared of what's going to happen. It's scared of what is going to be a good thing, a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny enough you said it because I actually made a poem in my head. It's called A Love Monster about the idea of fantasy, where it's like you've created fantasy in your head in love, but then once you meet reality, it shatters. It disappears. So the
I'm
concept
digging
of it.
that. No, I'm digging that. No, I feel that. I fully feel that. Go on.
So the point is like I remember like when I wrote that poem, it's like I'm catching my own fantasy, thinking at least you said I think it was a line that said is when the fantasy meets reality, either it dies or it evolves. So you'd rather not take that risk.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Go
point
on.
is, like I said, once fantasy meets reality, it literally scares it. It
Yeah. No,
dissolves.
it
And that's what
can
like
definitely.
that's what vulnerability looks like in a human aspect and a creativity aspect. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
there's different aspects of the vulnerability world because like I said, us, we can write poems about love,
Mm-hmm.
ideas,
Mm-hmm.
because we are not afraid to show our vulnerability to the world.
Correct. Definitely not. Definitely not. And it's open and definite. And people
Yeah.
can take it as they see it, or they can
Hmm.
fight us and say it's weakness. But then I know a lot of women don't hold that at heart. I think most women that hold that is because they've so grown into their masculine that they feel that they can't oppose it. It's too hard because they might let their vulnerability go, and next minute the man takes the pee out of them. That part. So that's what I mean. So it is a heart to heart thing. And although it's definitely about vulnerability and masculinity, definitely. I'm not gonna start, but I've got to keep it balanced. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be on
No, of
some
course.
like,
No, no,
yeah,
no.
like,
But
and because
I
that counts
mean,
for what's the word, vulnerability and femininity. It's the same
yeah.
thing. Like, but they are vulnerable. I'm not gonna. I couldn't talk about that as a male, so I'm not gonna
Yeah.
pretend like I've got yeah, mad thoughts about that. But go on, man. Like,
But I
continue,
think
man.
if
You
you
get the
look at
points.
for like like you say that this quick note for the women, a woman's vulnerability is actually somehow her greatest strength.
That's
You,
true.
you can,
That's true. No, but that is true.
that's actually her greatest strength. Her sharing tears, her opening up, her like letting men know, yeah, I'm not okay. That becomes her greatest strength.
That's
To a
true.
point.
No, that's true. Yeah. Well, I've worked with
No,
women for years. Yeah,
yeah,
right. They
no,
don't
of
talk
course.
about that. No, you're
Because
right.
I
Go
remember,
on.
like, just say I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and she was just telling me a situation they're in, and I said to her, "Look, you." She felt bad, like and she felt like, I'm a loser. I said, "No, you're not a loser, but you opening up here makes you more stronger. That makes you twice as strong. Like it's only temporary, it's not permanent."
Something
The
we
fact
can learn
is,
from. Mm.
yeah, and like I said, she opened up here, and I said, "Look, I'm not judging you. Why would I judge you? Like even for example, like the economy we're in, some women will feel like, oh, I'm a loser, I don't have a job. I'm like, no, that's not a bad
Well,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
definitely. I
not
like
like
what fair play,
if
nigga.
a woman told me, oh, I don't have a job, I'm unemployed, I will not look down. I'm thinking that's okay. But if I
But
do
then,
it,
but
if
then,
I
could
say it,
you? Yeah, if you say, go on, I'm gonna say, yeah,
so
go on.
like, but if I told them that, yeah, now how would you look at me a certain way? Just it's a different way
Yes,
because
yes, it is.
again, if a man looks at a woman, she's unemployed, I'm not gonna think, oh, she'll lose anything. No, she's just down, but let me help her out. Let me aid
Yeah,
her.
yeah. Go on. And then when a woman sees you unemployed, they're thinking they can't build you, and they think that you're pathetic, or they start
but
having
then
these pre-notion judgments.
again, it's a 50-50 for us. For us, women being unemployed, there's no doubt. Like I said, 100%, we were not thinking she's a loser. We'll encourage her, we'll help her. Like, again, our providing protector side kicks in. It's like automatically. Now, for us, it's a gamble. It's a 50-50. I'm not sure how you react. You know what I mean?
Mm, mm.
So that's where the
That's right.
vulnerability comes with because I've been in situations, well, not me personally, but since I had conversations with men who have been unemployed, their missus helps them. And then with that short period of time, she starts growing resentment towards him because she's like, oh, now I'm taking over the load. I got to do this. But then when she starts to realize, look, it's only temporary, it's not permanent, to a point, yeah, like help him out, then he'll grow. Because
Mm,
he's showing his humility and his vulnerability. And knowing that you have his back, that will make him grow and make him like progress even further. Now, however, there are some men who take advantage of that and get comfortable. So
Yeah,
I
I
know
met
your
men
face.
like that. Yeah.
I saw your face. I saw your face. You were about to. That's why I was like, I saw that face straight away. It was like,
No, but you're
trust
right.
me.
You're right. No, that's one thing I've witnessed. But to add to my experience, me and my lady, like, when I've been down and out, not to say like I don't like I work, I don't work. I go in and out of phases. I go
Hmm.
independent, I go entrepreneur, then I don't go on,
Yeah.
then I've got to go back to work. But in that same time, my lady support my dreams. She ain't hesitating once. She ain't
Hmm.
saying, "Oh man, you're that," because she sees my potential. That's the reality, and she sees my vulnerability and weakness. Some of the things that I didn't get to work for were based on things that I couldn't control, in laws and indirect kind of police interactions, which prevents me from doing what I need to do best.
Hmm.
But you know what I'm saying? But that could be a battle. But in that year, I still adapted. I still got another type of job. I didn't feel good doing it. She knew that. But most times she'd be like, oh, just quit it. Just allow it in it. You're not happy. Allow it. Like, I don't mind you quitting. It's not that kind of, oh, yeah, Shane, you're weak for quitting, man. You're rubbish. Or like, you're nothing like without money and
Hmm.
jobs and that. And that same
Hmm.
year, she'll still support me and maybe bust me some video games or whatever. I'll be like, oh yeah, I got your back when I get my back into that front and shit. And she knows that though. She knows that. But I let her know that. But no, but if I'm asking, that's vulnerability. I'm not pride. I'm like, oh girl, oh man, I beg you. And because you said it's not a
Yeah.
comfort thing, I might just go, look, man, I'm gonna play this video game. It's out now. It's on sale. I might want to bust that. It'll last me 10 months. I'm not gonna be begging every game every month. It's not that kind of thing out here. But the
Hmm.
point being, she'll say, you know what, man, no, no, you deserve that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like you don't do anything. She still sees me behind the scenes grinding. She still sees me skateboarding without clout. She still sees me making moves, like without like having to. So that's what a woman respects when they see a man making moves. Like, you don't have to have the money. They see you just sitting around the house all day. So I go out, for example, she sees me play football. She sees me skateboard. She sees me come back with like I've had a fucking day, a damn day's work. Yeah, like, do you understand what I'm saying?
No, of
So
course.
all of that is in perspective, but she's seen me weak. That's my point. And she's never, yeah, maybe she might feel frustrated. I can see that too. Like, oh, really, man, no, something's got to change. But that's not her telling me that. It's heavy for her to carry the load sometimes alone. That's definite. I'm not going to be like, especially if I've got potential. But again, it always depends on circumstances where she's more understanding. If I just went out of work and said, I quit, F it, she'd be like, but why? Like, I don't get like that might and that's good for questioning. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I just because you can support me for a minute. Maybe you could. No, we don't do all of that. So, but being vulnerable in those situations, she let me know it wasn't financial. It wasn't that. She had known me for years before the finance, realized my weaknesses before money. That doesn't make any sense. Of it. Oh, you need money to be strong. That's BS. I can call that in many aspects, but I've been lucky enough and fortunate enough to have a woman that says, you know what, like I already see your potential. It's blatant, and to this day, I can thank that because I've got my own personal things going in to make sure I can still earn some money to still support my household in certain ways. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's because she let me be vulnerable. If I was trying to act strong, but I'll be stressed every day. I'll be, I'm going to work, coming back from work. Oh, I didn't want to be here, but you made me want to come here because you didn't want me to. You didn't allow me to take a break, or you're just telling me, no, you can't do that. That's madness side. So you do need a counterbalance for sure when you're vulnerable. That's for sure.
You know what? The more you said, the more I start reflecting on my parents' marriage and realizing they've been together for like what, 33, coming to 33 years now. And
Mhm.
I look at them where it's like they support each other in so many ways. Like, I mean, when I look at it like this, my mom met my dad when he was literally, well, I mean, literally, like, the guy was doing, I think, certain jobs as well. And her friends were telling me, why are you with this guy, But mom was like, no, I see the vision in him. So I'm going to take my
See,
chance with him.
take off, mom.
I'm gonna,
But go on.
and like I said, like, she was like, listen, a lot of people didn't believe in your dad, but I did. And I
Okay.
think where the vulnerability comes is like having someone who's able to see your vision and actually
Hmm.
put a leap of faith into your vision as well. So I
Mm.
think that's what a lot of men struggle with. Can you trust my vision and support it? Like, can you
True.
see? Because like I said, hearing the story, like your missus saw where you were going, and
Hmm.
I said she had troubles. Like, I'm not bored, but it's like, no, I'm gonna stick to the end. And years later, she became your wife to a point. She
Yeah,
literally
you're right.
always there with
You're
you
right.
to a point
That's right.
because you showed the humanity side You sure you're not your imperfection side?
Yep,
Like,
definitely.
and I think this is something I am kind of annoyed, especially within the black community, and I'm going to just out there for women.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
We have this narrative of black women only wants to be a black man, where he's at the end or say at the beginning, and
Mm.
we need to debunk that stereotype because
Definitely
that was
debunk that. Yeah, man. Eventually, we have to definitely debunk that
because
stereotype in a
that's like
brutal way.
because
Yeah.
there are some black women who will support a black man when in the beginning he has nothing, and like I said, the moment he has a vision, they'll go with him. You know what I mean?
That's
Go
true.
with him
No, but that
until
is
his end.
true. Just certain marriages, especially in the 90s and the 80s, maybe relationships, maybe even 70s and 60s. But you're right.
Yeah, of
I
course.
mean, that was evident what you said there. They blatantly showed like you can get together and row the boat and in fact create a flipping arc. You get
Hmm.
me? They let you know you can do stuff like that. But this whole red pill versus this pill and right, that I grew
Or
late in that.
feminist, or
Yeah,
like
oh man, there's so many aspects what's disconnecting us. You know what I'm saying? So that's a good example. Those things don't help a woman grow as a as an actual being of her true essence. They kind of
mhm.
limit themselves with Western philosophies and ideologies that suit them. Only when it suits you, you want to tell me some sort of truth, which ain't the truth. Because if you go back in your own grandmas, your grandparents, you can't say no, but we're not them anymore. No, you're not. But some of the elements still exist in you, but you just choose to ignore it. If you know what I mean.
You know, it's funny enough you'd say that. I think what you just spoke on is true in rare ways because if we look at like our father and our grandfather's time, like great grandfather's time period, like the masculinity then was complete to the masculinity now. Like,
Mm.
I mean, there are pros and cons towards the vulnerability. Like, yes, men are able to express their emotions, they're able to touch the inner feminine, but
Yep.
to a point, it becomes this balance to a point with some men. I'm not saying all. Some men become
Hmm.
too emotional to a point. I'm like, bro, you don't need to cry. There's sometimes you don't need to cry unless it's like necessary. Unless you're in anger and pain, cool. But sometimes it's not that deep. You just need to like exercise, be more stoic, able to regulate your emotions. And this is funny enough. When I hear a woman say, "Oh, I like a man who's very emotional," I'm like, be careful what you say because emotional man is a dangerous man. If you don't,
Facts.
that,
Facts. Go on.
and
Yeah, no,
like
we
he
can
is
get
a
countless
dangerous.
examples of emotional men that have done very bad things, probably
Oh
not
no,
countless,
100%.
but like, so just go to Netflix documentaries and see man wilding out. You get me?
Yeah, yeah.
That
Oh
the
yeah, 100%.
emotions overrid them. Or
Yep.
go to YouTube and you'll see a man fighting for something trivial over nothing
Yep.
that really mattered because he expressed emotions in the most unhealthiest way because he ain't
Hmm.
been told how to, as you said, regulate. But go on.
Like I said, so when I hear women, "Oh, like my emotion," I'm like, no. There's difference between emotional man and a man who can regulate. What you meant to
Mm,
say, you like a man who can able to regulate his emotions. Again, EQ, emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence means you
yeah.
can regulate your emotions. You're able to identify your emotions. Emotional man cannot. He's wild. He's literally
Mm,
untamed to a
yes.
point that
That's the
he
Leo
loses.
within. But go on.
Like he's literally loses it for the most smallest thing. Listen, I'm in my 20s. When I was in my 20s, yeah, go join a club. And, like I would see certain men, yeah, barge into one man, and it's like, what? What? You want to start something? You want to start? I'm like, bro, it was just an accident. It's not deep. You know what I mean? Some men will
No,
start fighting.
that's I come from that generation too. Yeah, that
Oh
was
yeah,
fair. That was almost like that. Almost it was like a front to say that's what a man's meant to do. My trainers, blood, step up.
yeah. Like doing the right thing.
My trainers. Yeah, guy. Yeah, you're like, bro, like, but you wore them to a dark space, and by the time you leave that club, bro, there's stains on your trainers. Don't try and wild out on me, bro. Guy, your trainers were effed up before you even got on the dance floor, or just as you got in the dance floor. You ain't blaming me for stamping on them. Definitely not. Yeah, no, but I've seen that. I've seen that too.
Oh, trust me, I've been in that situation in my 20s, and I was thinking, it is not worth it. It is not worth it. And then the next thing you know, some men were like, oh, I'm mad. You did back to fight. I'm like, no, I'm not a man. It's not. I'm not a man. I'm just not an idiot like you. There's difference.
Yeah, yeah. That's how. Yeah, I ain't got them ideologies or idiocracies. I ain't got none of that. I get it. You get me. Like, maybe that's how you grew up, innit? You didn't get taught how to. One thing I give my father, that I'll give him props. So like that when he spoke to me, he was emotionally expressive. I'm not sure if that's a line in him, like or whatever, but he had this way of like he can make you cry. That kind of part. Yeah, bro, how you doing that? Like a lot of friends that met him would tell me, bro, your dad made me cry. But it's true. He has this way of expressing himself that would bring tears to your eyes. You're like, how's that possible? But that's power. I wish I had that kind of yeah comprehension. But I mean, I rate it. I rate it. Although he might seem like looking like dread man, Jamaican man from East London, looking raw, like he's got no emotion, like F it, the rose in my ting. I've had a hard life. But he grew up with a sense of he can make you cry. One day I might have a conversation about that and bring it to you. But I always wondered, how do you do that, Dad? How do you do that? Yeah, you got this power of emotional. I know it's emotional intelligence, but he has
Yeah.
a tone that can blatantly put you to either tears or make your eyes well up. Yeah, how are you doing that?
I think it's funny enough, yeah, because hearing your story about your dad, because like I remember the time I was like, I mean, I think there was give me a second, my brain's first. There was a time me and my wife's father, we sat down, we had a talk, and I remember him opening up and talking about his childhood stories. I was thinking, like, in my head, I was thinking, well, that's proof of vulnerability. You can share stories with me about your childhood, what you like growing up.
Exactly.
And I was thinking, you actually might share with your son. So I think able to share stories of what you've been through is in that form of vulnerability to able to like realize, hey, I've been there before. I know what it's like, being there. And I think, especially with marriage, especially with fathers, they should show vulnerability to their son by sharing stories of what they've been through. And what
100. I do that my son all the time. There's no way he's gonna see me being unvulnerable. Yeah, he has to know you better, and I hope he takes it into practice. But he might not because again he's learning. But go on. You're
Yeah.
right.
And
You
I
are
think
right.
especially like when I look at like come from Ghanaian African culture, like I think the best form of vulnerability to us is like when the fathers or grandfathers share the stories of their childhood.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
That's the
Uh-huh.
form of vulnerability of sharing what
I
they've
agree.
been through.
No, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. If they can allow themselves to do that, I agree with that. That's right.
So that's to me is like ultimate form of vulnerability is like, sharing your stories, like, hey, I was with this happened to me, I was doing this when I was your age and stuff. I was thinking
Uh,
that's
uh,
you being honest with me. And I'll be honest, when I hear a story, I'm thinking like, okay, cool. I was talking about that, like, can you tell me what it's like and stuff? What it's like
uh,
your age or what it's like doing this? Like, so let me into your world and, so I can relate to you.
uh-huh.
One
No,
being
I
is
feel
now,
that.
like, one being in another form of can we relate to each other? Because
Yeah.
I might be going through some hardship here, but I don't feel comfortable telling you because I know you can relate to me.
Uh,
Unless you can tell me you've been through there.
uh, uh. No, that's true. And when he does, you must have had a sense of growth from him doing that.
Yeah. No, of course, definitely. I mean, while I look at it this way, it's like I spend time alone. It's like, for example, I think while I was younger, like I was talking to my grandfather's father, and he was opening up to me, telling me what my grandfather was like, seeing what it was like growing up, and I was thinking,
Wow.
oh,
That's some lineage right there, bro. I like that. I want to speak to you about that one day, but go on. Yeah.
nah, man.
Yeah.
It's like, and I remember like I was just asking my uncle, like, hey, what was my granddad like? He was like, oh, your granddad was like
Like
this, and
ask
that.
other men about that. Yes, go on. Yeah, yeah.
And I was hearing this story, it's like, oh, so okay, cool. Like stories are now, and you think about it, stories are actually all form of vulnerability in a nutshell. Stories are literally
Yes, they
vulnerability.
are. Naturally, you're right because you've got to talk about the good, the bad, and the
Bad, they're ugly.
scariest. And yeah, the whole cowboy thing, the whole
Yeah,
revolver. Oh man, like yeah, no, you're right, bro. You'll be your hands up and go, look, man. My
yeah,
heart hurt that day. My heart was broken that day. Once your mum broke my heart, once some other person broke that. Talk about that, man. You know what I'm saying? We're
yeah.
not all ultimate strength, you know what I'm saying? But we have the strength to be expressive, and that's not a weakness. So when people come mixing, don't show yourself this, and women will eat you alive, bro. Then women ain't grown up. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I think there's a difference between a woman and a girl. There's a difference. Just like there's a boy and a man.
Good example. Yeah, okay, okay. But what about women who are girls? Let's stick with that because we don't want to be. I want to be with the narrative or comparative. These are grown ass women, but with girl mentalities. Let's go with that. We have to just go with
So
that
what I
because
mean that
yeah.
is there's an old saying, again, the boy and the girl must die in the man and woman. So what I mean
Mm,
by that is I look at my generation not show. The millennials have an adolescent mindset.
uh-huh,
The outside we're adults, but the inside we still behave like teenagers.
uh-huh.
We still haven't grown up. We still haven't taken the idea of run up internally, taking sacrifice. Again, keyword is sacrifice. To a point, it's like, can you be honest about this person without playing games and stuff?
Yeah.
Because to me, I know a woman. If I spend time with a woman, I could tell what a grown woman looks like. She's done the shadow work. She's done the inner child. she's able to embrace who she
Gotcha.
is
Now I know what you mean. Okay, them observations. Gotcha.
to a point where it's like when you show your vulnerability, it does not scare her. She does not run. In fact, she's
Mm-hmm.
more drawn to it. Just like a
Mm,
man, vice
mm.
versa. There are
Yeah,
some
yeah,
men,
vice versa. I hear you. No, I hear your
vice versa.
balance. I hear your kind of
There are
balance.
some
I
vice
hear you,
versa
man.
in some men. The whole story kind of boy mentality. I trust me, I see them. I see them. Like I can meet guys younger than me, older than me, and they still have that adolescent mindset. Like, oh man, you gotta do this to a girl. No, man, all right, bro, just be yourself. What's wrong with being yourself? No, I don't like that. It's like, no, that's because you haven't learned to be yourself around others. So you need
Real
cover with
talk.
Mars.
Yeah,
You know what
that's
I mean?
facts, bro. That's
So
facts,
it's
man.
like you gotta learn to be honest with yourself 24/7. Even the good, the bad, the ugly. You know what I mean?
Yep. And I like the
No
way you
matter
use
how
the
much.
mask analogy, bro, because you know what it reminds me of? How did Jim Carrey end up getting the girl in the
Yeah, the
film?
mask,
By
yes.
being himself.
Exactly.
The
The
mask was
mask.
just like an act. And it impressed her for a minute, but when
Mhm.
she knew who was behind the mask, she knew, oh, you're just so scared and vulnerable that, oh, you were showing that kind of that kind of vibe. You understand that? You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So yeah, man, like
Yeah, of course.
that just showed a lot. But she looked like a high class woman, like, oh, I like the gangster type. Yeah, I get it. But when he took the mask off, she actually liked him just for being him. In the end,
Mhm.
she went there to do a snoop job and a bad thing. But when she got to know him, she was like, you know what? Like, I just like you. Like,
Yeah.
if I always knew you behind the mask, I would have loved you or liked you or loved you regardless. Because you were showing your fear while you put the mask on. Taking it off is probably more better. And I appreciate it. Well, maybe I can't say it's more better because obviously some
No.
that wear a mask, they probably get better responses by doing that. You know what I'm
But
saying? So,
it's basically the compassion. I think what you're looking for is she saw the compassion in him to the point because again, the whole but the nice guy versus bad boy kind of thing.
mm,
I mean,
mm,
a grown woman will not tolerate disrespect and anything, but a grown woman will respect, appreciate the kindness as well. And I mean, like I saw a good friend Ray is on the video saying, like, that's the key of being vulnerable to the right woman. It's just being showing a compassion side, showing humility,
mm.
humility.
Yeah, that's for sure. She's right about that because that lack of humility is what makes us more humidity. It brings heat for no reason to ourselves.
Yeah,
You get over tempered, you get over hot, and then you don't even know how to deal with yourself, and you end up internally your heart. If your heart's an apple, if I'm gonna make a poem, your heart will rot. Poetically
yeah,
saying, you know what I'm
yeah, of
saying?
course.
You know what I'm saying? Dumb bars now. We gotta get bars. We're poets too, bro. We get serious, but we got lyrics, son. We got lyrics.
I know we got philosophical. I mean, like I said, there was
Yeah,
times
man.
when I was carrying the mask for too long, yeah, and it's like the minute a woman saw me not wearing a mask, I freaked out because I was saying, crap. It's like an act. It's only so much that I can play an act until a point I break down character.
Facts.
So it's like to the
Facts.
point
Your
I
truth will
was like,
come out because you are who you are.
yeah. And the thing is, once I stopped playing that character, I was thinking, oh, screw it, I don't need the mask anymore, and I can be myself. For free, I can breathe, I can relax.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? To a point, it ended up attracting women in my life who are actually grown women who've done the work, and they can come to me for a form of guidance. You know what I mean? They come to me and
Yep.
like, I feel safe around
Yep.
these
True
things at
that.
all. I think one of the
True
things
that.
with the vulnerability and like it's with men, some men are not done the inner child, are not done shadow work to the point they have to put this facade on. And you don't have to.
Good word, facade. It is a facade.
You don't have to.
Right.
Just don't
No,
put
you're
a
right.
facade on.
No, you're right. You're right.
Because at the end of the day,
But the
it's like,
facade is necessary usually to protect yourself. As a man, I'm speaking from a man.
yeah,
I'm not speaking as
yeah,
like anything else. Because you know that, but to be fair, I've never personally put on a facade. Because I've been expressive from day one, so it's hard for
mhm,
me to fake it. Like, I
yeah,
can't. People, I was more hated for my truth. Like they're like, you're not like every. I'll get told a lot. You're not like every other guys. You're not like any guy I know. But that makes sense to me because I was like, bro, yeah, the men that you aim for, they're still kind of so they could be my seniors. So this is an example. I know people who have 10 year senior old boyfriends, but in their head, he's the man. But when I
hmm
talk about why he's not a man or where he's lacking as a man, without doing it directly, they can hear me, but they choose to not accept that. They just would be like, nah, he's still a man. He's making pee. He's still bringing in the money. Nah. He takes care of his other baby mothers. It's shit like that. I mean, stuff like that. I'm in the hype, but when you're talking, we get hype. Oh, go on.
no,
Yeah.
I think what it is, yeah, they're seeing the responsibility side of the resources. That's what they're seeing. And to them, that's a form of, again, masculinity of being a man. Is able to bring the resources, but there's more layers towards that as well, like
No,
internally.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna fight the
Yeah, yeah,
precept
of
of that.
course.
I'm not gonna add to it like because I don't know why women choose the men, but I'm not gonna judge a woman who
I
chooses a man like that. It's not my
I
style.
mean, no, of
It's not my
course, and
style. But I get it. But I don't get it. That's the part I want a woman to break down for me. That why do you talk to people about these problems? Like, I remember a girl. She's ringing everyone all day around, saying things like, "Oh yeah, um, uh, what do you think that this man's known to be a bad boy? He's known for this. He's got bare baby mums." Bro, in the end, she just got with him because when everyone told her, F that guy, allow that, he's an F boy. Bro, she didn't even care, but she wanted to reassure herself in her brain. Although she was, and right now, she regrets that. She's like, "Raw, I'm still with this dude and I ain't having a good time and he's isolating me. I can't see my friends. I can only go on holiday with him and his friends." What kind of shit, bro? What kind of is that, man? Do
I
you know
think
what I
I'm
mean,
gonna
though?
like, I think the way it is here is she fell in love with the fantasy version of him. So, what I mean,
Go
the
back to
fantasy
your
version,
poem. Yeah. That your poem, bro. Please shoot that. Go on.
like
Yeah.
what I mean, like I said, the Love Monster, the fantasy. She fell in love with the fantasy until one day she read the reality and she's like, crap. So what I mean, when she sees a man with multiple baby mom, what she's seeing is, oh, he's responsible, he's an adult, he could take care of. Yeah, that's one
Oh yeah.
aspect.
No. That's true. No.
So,
That does make
but
sense. I'll give you that.
she's looking at that perspective, but at the same time, she's ignored every single trait of him. She's only looking at one trait of him. Oh, he's responsible. He looks after the kids. He's nurturing. Cool. He's a good father. Yeah, that's the father. Let's not take away the father aspect of him. But
Mm,
let's be real, sure. The human side of him, the outside further world, is he a good social person? Is he like,
no.
caring to other person? Like, does he care about the mother of his children's needs and emotions? Probably not. So there's a
Yeah.
constant battle between that realm. So when again the vulnerability, she's seen the vulnerability of him being a good father to his kids.
Yeah.
That's where
Yeah.
she's seen the vulnerability in him.
That's
That's
right.
where it is. Yeah.
No.
I mean,
No,
it's
no,
back
you're
to
right. I mean, I'm not going to argue that. I think that makes sense because I felt that's what she saw. And she's got no children with this guy. Bear in mind that.
yeah,
That's what I'm
yeah.
saying. And he's not going to give her children. That's the point. He's like, resources. Oh, you got your own house. Oh, you got this. Oh, you got. I'm going to fuck with you, but I mess with you. Sorry. You get
Yeah.
me? I can do that. I'm going to mess with you. Yeah. I really got. It's a poet in me. That it's the art
I know
form.
the rawness. I
Yeah.
know the rawness.
But
But yeah, but
and to address that one, yeah, no, I like what a radius that I said that. You know what I'm saying about the rehabilitated man is a blessing and a curse because men will show rehabilitation, but that's a gift and a curse in the sense of how you accept that kind of observation of him. Like, oh, you know what, like, and and you know what, and the amount of people I've met with those kind of rehabilitated men, they always go back to that thing. When you rehabilitate, but you go backward. What's that called again? I ain't got the words for it right now, but you
going
rehabilitate.
backwards.
Just quit
So
going
it's
backwards because we don't need to be technical
yeah,
right now. Me and you,
yeah,
just me and you. But
yeah.
that's what I mean. It's going back again. But the girl will still say, "But you're still my boyfriend. I still love him to who he is." And yeah, like, so it can be like a kind of 50-50 energy with that. Like, you get me? But 100% if both parties keep it real.
Oh, 100%. I mean, in the day is like I said, there's no right or wrong answer to vulnerability. It's like it just shows up. It shows up. I mean, you can't just like there's times I don't want to be vulnerable with certain people, not because I'm not secure, but maybe the fact the energy you're carrying away. My intuition tell me I don't feel safe around this person yet to be open up. You know what I mean? Your intuition will be a guideline and tell you that okay, maybe it's time for me to be vulnerable. Maybe it's not time to be vulnerable as well. And the thing is like vulnerability is another form of courage. There's times you're not brave. It's okay. You don't feel brave. There's times
That's true.
you're allowed to feel scared. It's natural.
Facts, man.
You're
Like,
allowed to be
why wouldn't you
scared.
want to? Like, bro, have you ever dropped in a skateboard ramp? That took me 10 years. I've been skating for 22 years, but I only learned to drop in 2024. So think about that. That's how
Hmm.
scared I was. Oh, I can ride the ramp and
Yeah.
drop in the ramp, drop in. I'm like, no, man, that's scary, man. And so I showed fear. I blatantly showed fear, and from that fear, but a whole new confidence came out when I faced that fear. And
Yeah,
so back to what you're saying, vulnerability may be a fear, but once you face it, oh my god, the freedom with it. Boom.
yeah,
Them Denzel ones. Boom. You get me?
yeah.
Training day. You free, man.
I
That's it.
know
You in your game. It's not lame.
because
It's not that. It's not you ain't faking it. You ain't acting it. Because the fact that you have to act behind that, that means the curtain of your heart. Remember when you close a curtain in stages? Imagine your heart behind the scenes. That's the truth. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm
mhm.
saying? Not the stage. The stage is beautiful, but the rest of it is behind the scenes is vulnerability. And even then, going on stage, as we said earlier, is vulnerability. So I'm not gonna
Yeah,
but then as you're saying the heart, I'm not using it as like a person thing, but
yeah,
as a
yeah.
heart thing. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, trust me. I mean, there's times where like I go on stage while I'm performing, my legs are shaking. My legs are freaking shaking. So people are like, Duncan, you were so good. I'm like, but I'm crapping on my pants. I am scared like a mother sucker. And I am scared like a mother sucker, yeah. And you think, yeah, oh my gosh, you were so brave. I think, yeah. And I remember there was a poem I did back in 2024, and I opened up to people saying, like, what if I tell you my mind? I'm opening up, telling people that I have my dark days, that I'm vulnerable. That
Mm,
poem was so
mm.
deep for me, I can sense the tears coming out of my eyes. And a
Yeah, that's
lot,
real. That's real.
and
Uh,
and I remember like,
It's tea. Yeah, that
I
was real.
remember tears coming back of my head, my eyes. I was so vulnerable to a point. A lot of people looked at me and hugged me like, Duncan, that's the realest version of you I ever seen in my life. You know, some women like that. And I was like, wow, Ting. I was like, thank you, I need that. But then,
Let's say before women liked it, men were open to the fact that you can be like that. Let's go with that.
yeah, and a lot of men was inspired by that as well. They said, bro, you spoke to the heart. I felt that. But then this is something that I learned 4 years ago. And when I remember the first time I showed my vulnerability, a lot of women said, oh, I liked it, I liked it. But I challenged them saying, you like it, but question is, do you respect it?
Yeah,
Do you
yeah. Do you
respect?
feel it? It's
Do
the
you
key
respect
word.
vulnerability? I think that's
Yeah.
what a lot of men are afraid of. Like, can the woman respect the vulnerability? As they're asking it without respecting it.
No, I hate
Like,
you. I like that question in the open air. It's an open air question, bro. Can you accept the vulnerability? That is a good question to have for anybody. You know what I'm saying? I don't
yeah,
feel we need to elaborate on the depth of that because of the fact that people should really reflect upon such thoughts and feelings. It shouldn't be a one-way street where we think, oh, because I've done it, you can do it. But if I can do it, you technically can do it.
can
But
do
I'm not saying you
it.
have to. You don't have
Yeah.
to do it. I'm
But
not
yeah, there's an
saying that.
option. There's an option.
That's the point we're making. That's where we as poets come into play, bro. Poets are very passionate. There's no filter, bro. Like I've had
Mhm.
raw poems. I've had, whatever. I've got bare types of poems. But the point being is expression and vulnerability. No matter what, you'll find vulnerability in I don't know 65 to 75% of my poetry. That's definite. Most of it's just raw, like unfiltered. I don't give a damn. That's not vulnerability. That's just me just being real. I didn't want to hear that. And that's just my heart enraged. But if I take that page away, I'll give you an example. I wrote a poem for my mum once. It started off dark. Bro, over the years, it became lighter and lighter. And then one day it was just freedom. I was like, man, I ain't got qualms with you really, man. This is growth. Like I'm trying to grow with you. I'm trying to grow for myself. I went from there, innit? You get me? I went from
No, of
there.
course. I think it's funny enough you say it because I actually wrote a poem. Like, it's mad because when I wrote the poem, I told you what was on my mind. I was just on a plane, coming from Ghana to UK, and I literally remember the emotion behind it. I was literally in tears when I finished writing that poem. I was literally in
That makes
tears.
sense. No, I agree with that. I've had it once. No, 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 no. No, that can happen, bro.
I was
No,
literally
I
in
agree
tears.
with that. That means you're
Like,
in tune with
what?
yourself. That's good. But
I
go
think
on.
why I performed that poem itself, I felt so much tears behind it. But then it's from the beginning of 2025. Once I did it, the tears were gone. The tears just left.
Mm.
It was no longer tears. To the point I could do that poem, I don't feel that emotions anymore. And I told Mary, like, look, like, trigger warning, guys, this is about depression, men's depression, anything. And a lot of men, some men will say, like, Douglas, that's one of my favorite pieces for you because it speaks to me so ways. And I remember beginning of the line, I said, like, my self esteem is on my life support machine to a point here, like, I value my, like, the women like me if I was broken this time. I was literally saying, look, can a woman, someone love me, like, as well? I think there was one line I said in my poem was like, lust is my addiction. I'm sleeping in bed with loneliness. If I told you my life,
Makes
would
sense.
you
No, it makes
actually?
sense, bro. No, no, I can agree with that. I'm not like that. Like, because man's been in relationships that it means that I'm not vulnerable within the relationship. But we'll have another conversation about that for
Yeah,
real. But I'm just saying that's a good example. I mean, even people who are together are far apart, as I said earlier, it doesn't even like, not always the factor for everybody. You can always have a connection, but there's always that moment where you're just like, nah, man, like it don't work like that. Like, you gotta understand that there's a connection that we still gotta build, and you maybe not have the bricks ready for that right now. It's not to say that they can't. Sometimes you're not ready for the building, you know what I'm saying? And so therefore, when you have a collapsed foundation or a gritty kind of a gritty kind of wallpaper or whatever, whatever people, use as a house analogy, it's just normal. And then one day you say, hey, like actually, you know what? If we work together, we could paint a beautiful picture for man and female. That's for male and female. That's for sure. That's a message for both of us because it's definitely a two-way street. And as Aurelia said, Lady A is a cooler. She's right about that. Like, having a man vulnerable that's off the hook. And it's true because if you don't do that, then it's not a good look. Then you're just basically fronting. And then women will know that, bro. or women on her intelligence. I'm going to have to big her up. So, yeah, they'll just know that. They'll just know that. Straight to the point.
No, of course.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it's quite interesting what you just said. Like, if she understands her own femininity, she takes a woman with her head in the right place. I mean, it's kind of
Mhm.
true as well. I mean, funny
Yeah,
enough,
no,
I've actually got
facts.
the. Funny enough, I actually got the poem with me. There's one line I'll read out to you. I was saying like, I want to see the light, but my demon cries for intimacy. But my agenda has lied to you. Society tells me it's okay to cry, but at the same time, I'm
Mhm.
using my tears as pain as joke. To be honest with you,
Mm.
me being honest with people, it's like playing with death. Something can transform or die in my hands.
Mm.
And I was literally saying, like, if I told you there are days I wish I could cry, man up, they say, because boys don't cry. I was built to be a wimp and a winter soldier. Two sides
At
that can't
once.
come together. My friend used
Yeah,
to use
yeah.
against me when I opened my heart to a woman. So I'm just letting people know, listen, I've been those dark days, but even now, looking at that poem, I'm thinking, right now, those emotions are coming back, but different formats, like to a form of freedom, like a
Bro, you're
liberation.
growing. You're growing and you're being free. You're growing. That freedom comes with growth. So yeah, no, big up to you for that. As I said, as a
Yeah.
poet though, bear in mind we are poets, bro. You gotta know before when I met you, bro. I met you as a poet. I didn't meet you as as a deep philosophical guy. But you are that guy. But I love the way
Hmm.
you opened up over the years about that. But when I met you as a poet, I already knew by your poetry you had depth. You understand? I already knew that. You feel me? And in respect, that's why your development now is high empowered, and your inquisitiveness and your power to express is just as that vulnerable and blatant. Yeah, so to speak. Imagine I written a love book. Imagine the vulnerability in that alone. I'm not gonna all that.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
There ain't no self promotion thing. You get me? I'm not
yeah.
gonna be
Yeah.
you check the
No, of
bio as
course.
I keep telling people. I ain't
Yeah.
gonna. But get that point. Imagine I written a love book, a whole book, not a big book. I'm probably 100 and something pages. But it took years, as I said, it took years for me to change that. Because every time I
Hmm.
was loving or understanding love in different ways or rereading my
Yeah.
work, I
Right.
already knew I grew up.
No, of course. But you know
So
what it is? That idea itself is true. I mean, even creativity is a form, like I said, back to creativity, creativity is a form of vulnerability. Even like us writers, even us
yeah,
being on this platform right now, sharing our stories to across the people, that's true
it's
vulnerability.
vulnerability. There you go. We
That's
can
what,
just drop that, bro.
yeah,
Facts. This subject is vulnerability. You get
yeah,
me? Now we can just talk about nothing else and something else. If we wanted to, we can chat about the issues about other things. But I'm a 40-year-old man, so I'm very limited to what I can really crap on. You get me? Without
yeah, no, of
swearing.
course.
Lady A said you can
Yeah.
swear on here, but I won't swear on here to let my intelligence be known. You get me, Lady A? I ain't trying to
But
act
I mean,
so
like,
yeah.
but then,
Yeah.
like I said, so vulnerability, like, it does have to be words, but it could be through actions. Like I said, we all got cameras on our phones. We us recording ourselves and, showing ourselves to the world, opening up. It's funny enough, like, there's a book, like, I think, there's a book that I think people should recommend to me. It's called The War of Art by Simon Pressfield. And even easily as well, like, when you're a creative person, the world will judge you no matter what. Like,
Mhm.
us putting our poets, us being poets, or sharing our poetry, like or not, the world's going to judge us for our writing. And that's okay. Everyone's got opinions.
Definitely. I was ready for that judgment. So, okay, next time you judge me, I'm going to question you. Like, what do you mean by that? Tell me what you mean before
Mm,
you tell me what I mean. So I know what I mean.
yeah,
I've written it. So I want
yeah.
to see what offended you because I've written so much poetry to people. bro, they're just scared to admit, like, right, that's a bit too real. I'm gonna pretend I didn't see that. Exactly, I've seen it. I've belatedly seen that. I can be the number one in the most biggest set of poets, and I come with the most realist. But I'll give you an example of my vulnerability. One day, this girl came in sensual, lustful, but she battered me in the competition. Battered me. I said, you know what? Yeah, you know what? I'm coming back the same way next week. The same way you come this week. Bro, I won that, bro. That I have to make sure you want to talk about the subject, bro, about what you're doing. Bro. I can do that, but that's just not my style. But my friend was egging me on. He was like, nah, bro, you got this on lock. You don't have to talk about your vulnerabilities. Just get on their level sometimes. But it's still
Yeah.
vulnerability. It was still I
Yeah.
still had to express it.
You know what?
But
I think
I
definitely.
get
I
it
think I
though.
might have check out. I might have read Ray's latest article. So like she wrote a
Yes, fire.
program
There's the
how
fire one she's got. She got a fire one.
yeah,
If it's not that one, the masculine one, the one before that I'm talking about.
yeah.
If
But
it's not
I
that
think
one.
to be fair, I mean, shout out to Ray, her work is actually phenomenal and it's incredible. And I enjoy reading her
No,
work.
fact. So do I. I can read that all day. I do
Oh,
read it
facts.
from the moment I read it. I can quote a million things, but I just don't tend to overquote. But I know I can quote. I'm like, right, that's hard. Right, that's deep. Oh, right. I didn't even know women think like that. To be honest, I just didn't know. But lucky for Substack, there's a lot of people on levels here. That's what I do love about this place. I'm gonna big it up like that. I
Oh,
don't
of
big up
course.
social medias, but I'll big this place up. Yeah, it's not even social media; it's a social therapy. I would never say it's media because we're not really trying to
Oh
overdo
no,
it
no,
here.
no, 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 no. I think this platform is a platform that people can actually express their humanity side. And you know, I love the idea like people can actually express without being judged. And like I said, it's a platform we all support each other and actually have vulnerable conversations.
Facts.
And I think
That's why. No, that's true. That's true. Go on.
like because
That's
we
true.
can actually have healthy conversation and to a point is even you like you know there was a time you read the book about like in a relationship with your mum. Like I will honest, that was pure vulnerability and I felt that. I felt like raw.
I'm glad
I
you,
felt like
bro.
a
I was
baby.
shocked to read that. No, I'm not gonna. Everyone who knew me were like, "Oh, how did you read that, bro?" Like, but they saw that. What you said, they saw that. They went, "Nah, that was so mature. That was so." Like, you're right though. But go on, continue though. I want to hear what your point
But
is on that.
you doing that, yeah, I was like, wow. The image I was saying is like, bro, it took me back when I was a baby, mom holding me in my arms. And it's
I love
like, it
that.
made me feel like,
Love that.
like, I felt like, wow, this guy took me back to the day I entered the world.
That is
He took
deep.
me
But
back
you're
to
making
it.
me think about like, no, that's. I like, if I may ask, just at this moment of vulnerability,
Yeah, yeah, cool,
how
yeah.
was your relationship with your mum at that time, or generally? Like, is it that beautiful? I mean, every mum and son has a beautiful. Most mum and sons have a great
Yeah.
connection.
I think,
Yeah.
I think to me, it's just like, with my relationship with my mom, it's like, there's times where I love her a bit, yeah, but it's like, I just don't, mom, I need my own space. But it's sometimes I feel bad for asking for my own space. Now, yeah, something like my past life, yeah, I realized my mom's got 4 kids. She couldn't give me all her love and attention to one kid. She has to spread
That's
it out.
facts. Respect it. Respect it.
Yeah.
Power to mums.
And
Straight up.
and really it's like, I remember getting this. My mom literally said, to me, Duncan, I love you. And instead of me saying I love her back, I just said, oh, thank you. I love you. She was like, what? I was like, in my head, I was thinking, no, but here's it. I was in a headspace thinking, that was the old version of me that never received love. So it's like, the new version of me has to say it. Now my mom says I love you and stuff. But I sometimes, this is me being philosophical question my own ignorance. I was thinking, do you love me for who I am or do you love what I become?
Fair question.
And
I rate you
and
though, because that's one thing I've never said to my mum and dad is that I love them. Although I show it through my
yeah.
poetry, I
Hmm.
don't literally. Well, me and my mum, let's stick to mums. Me and my mum, and like that's my love by reading what I did. I couldn't,
Yeah.
and then telling her why I respect and understand her. That's as
Hmm.
far as I couldn't say, oh yeah, because if I said that to her, she'd be confused. She'd be like, whatever, and then like laugh off like,
Yeah.
whatever, man, and da da da. She ain't got because she went through a hardship of expressing
Hmm.
love, but she's a loving person. That well, most women are, if not. Yeah, yeah, I would say a lot of women are.
Yeah.
I've met unloving women, but that's a few in between, and they show that they're unloving. They've got psychopath. That's another comment. Forget that. So my mum, but my mum's man,
Yeah.
yeah. So my mum's, yeah, she had that kind of grow up there, like saying I love you, kind of hard. You get me? And I couldn't show her that. She showed me like you're my first child. You're a regret, but you're also beautiful.
Yeah.
But I know she knows. She knows what I'm about, as you said. She knows
Yeah.
who I really am. But she never, ever said, I don't think me and my mum ever hugged. You know what I'm saying? I'm being real with you. I'm going to
Wow.
be vulnerable. I'm
Wow.
being real. I never hug my mum.
Damn.
Not because I don't want to, not because she don't want to, is that we ain't reached there. Like, I'm not going to force it
Okay.
either. That's why I wrote the lyric.
Okay.
That's why I wrote that. Because
So
of
would
that.
you say, so I'm gonna go deeper. Would you say that was the younger version of you when you wrote that part of your mom in the book? Was that younger version you saying, I wish I had that in you? Because like I said, when my mom said I love you to me and I said thank you, I still say to my mom, I
That's
do love
beautiful.
her. I
That's
do
still,
say,
even I just
no,
hear them words. But
no.
go on. Continue.
But then why I said when she said to me at the time, I reflected thinking, no, I think the younger version of me was not able to give it out because he never received it as a child. So that's where the
But
vulnerability
yeah,
comes
it was
from.
all
Because
unconditional. Mama's always giving. That's what I mean. That's why I grew up
yeah,
to realize my mum blatantly gave me love. I just didn't.
yeah.
She just didn't have the physical things like hug, kiss on the cheek, or
Or
bro. I just
or
never been that dude.
or,
Like
or I
and then
think
she made it harder for me to explore and express. So when I started getting poetic, it was the healthiest way to explore that. There's no way I was gonna be on some F my mum. Ugh, she's nothing. Or nah, man. Like my mom's the reason why I don't like women, and that's BS, man. Like it was like that when I was 22, but by the time I come 27, I was in heaven with my expression. I'm done, man. I ain't trying to be hating you, man. I'm done with that shit.
actually,
You know what I'm
hold on.
saying?
You know what, you did say something. I was gonna say something, but you know what, you did say something that I was supposed to. What you just said, like so you and your wife, a time in your early 20s and stuff. Now, being a father at a young age and
Hmm?
seeing your wife, where did you think the special of love of you growing come from? Because your
From
wife is a
her, you're
mother.
right. I'm gonna answer your question quick. No, you said it. You kind of ask what I can. Yeah, she blatantly allowed that. Like, although I don't 100% keep saying I love you, but she sees it. She's like, nah, I know he loves me. Like she blatantly shows it. Like his sacrifices are not in vain. Like, when he's
Okay.
still in pain, he's still limping. She sees me limping. She sees everything. She didn't tell me to calm down with certain movements. You got to
Yeah.
relax. But I've got that ADHD thing where that's why I'm
Oh yeah.
I've got that active sporty thing in me that if I've got no job, I'm blatantly doing activities. I'm not going to sit there. If I don't write poetry or read other people's poetry, I'm going to go out and start playing football, soccer for America. I'm going to start
Hmm.
doing,
Yeah.
trying to do 3 pointers from the line. I want to start moving around and just start like just letting myself go in different ways. I don't like to be stagnant in that way. Then I start
Yeah.
blaming my girl. Oh, not me, not me. I made that up because I don't blame my girl for my stagnation. But men
No, no.
start doing that. I was in the
Yeah.
mode, but I understand how men will blame. It's because of you. I can't
Yeah.
do this. But it's like, right, you chose to sit on the flipping sofa, eat Cheetos, play crappy video games all day. No, good video games, but you didn't have no ambition, bro. you just and women see that, bro, and that's why I said I respect her, but let me find a love for myself before I can heal and give her my true love hell. Like here, like if I'm gonna give it to Zelda, you start off with 3 hearts.
Yeah.
Eventually, I've got her to 20 hearts. Blatant. I was like, yeah, and the shields. I'm gonna
Yeah.
protect your heart that bad, that good, not that bad. But that's a
I,
sacrifice I'm willing to
yeah.
make.
I think it's funny enough because him and you say that as well because it goes back to the question like I said about me. My mom says to me, "I love you. I'm proud of you." First, I feel like there was a deflection because the child me version of me didn't see that enough as a kid to the point I went defensive. But as I got older, hearing that, embraced it more than before. To the point I felt the love, I felt the connection. I mean, my mom
Mm.
loves hugs. I give my mom a hug. I'm always checking up for her.
I'm
You know what I mean?
envious of that. In a
No,
feel happy way, not in a.
yeah. But I mean, look, I mean, like I always hug my mom. I always say, "Oh, I love you" and stuff. Like even my own father, sometimes I say to my father, like, "Hey man, I love you." He's like, "Yeah, I love you too." Even my grandma, I tell my
Rage, bro.
grandma,
I
like,
can't even. Actually, no, to be fair, my dad has told me he loves me a lot. I'm not gonna. I can't crap on my dad about that. Like,
"Oh
yeah,
yeah,"
he's definitely
and
told man he loves man. Like, in
yeah,
many ways. I don't know if in many or not, but I think there's some ways I can tell he meant it. But I think every time he said it, now looking now, talking to you, he did plainly mean it.
oh yeah, of
He
course.
yeah, yeah. Because when I'm not
And
speaking to him, which, yeah, go on. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, even me, it's like sometimes even towards my grandma, like tell my grandma, "I love you, grandma." And my grandma's like, "Oh, I love you too." And coming from African culture, but African people, we don't say "I love you" in Africa.
Oh, so you can relate to that feeling then in other ways. Okay.
Like
Now that's
that's a
fair.
bit that's like American UK thing. We say "I love you." when you go to Ghana and like the motherland, do you know how we
Actions.
say?
They show it through actions. It's
Yeah,
actions.
there you go.
Yeah.
We show our love language through action. Like you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like
Definitely.
we could get into
Definitely.
an argument. We could get into an argument with his always are. Do you hear the phrase? Oh, are you hungry? Do you want something to eat? That's always saying. I'm not gonna say I'm sorry, but I'm
Yes,
saying
but I'm sorry. I've done them once. I ain't gonna lie to my homeboys, to my G. Yeah, I've done them once to my lady. I've done them indirect sorries, but I blatantly say I'm sorry. I'm blatantly let you know I'm sorry, and you can tell it's a
exactly.
sorry. You can
Sorry.
tell. You can't
Yeah,
fake it. You
yeah,
know.
yeah. I
Oh,
mean,
he's basically saying I'm sorry.
yeah, I'm sorry.
A real woman can see that, anyways. A real woman
Yeah,
can see that, and a real person that's got
yeah,
like emotional healthiness. They can see
yeah.
that. He's basically saying
So it's
sorry,
like, and I think
basically.
sometimes action is more powerful than words because you showing like, hey, I'm sorry, let me show you from my actions is more powerful than the words itself. Because I think again the UK thing, we say sorry for the sake of peace, but sometimes when people say, "Oh, I'm sorry," I'm like, "Sorry for what? What have you done that is really good?"
Bro, me, I think it's a Leo thing, bro. I swear to God, I had someone who kept saying sorry, sorry. She's correcting herself when she's not wrong or
Wrong,
he's wrong,
wrong.
but you're kind of trying to understand your brain, and your sorry is a habit. I said, look, you got to break that sorry habit. You got to stop saying that. But I love me being humble, not being raggle or
Yeah,
rude. It's more like just don't say
mhm,
sorry, man. Because you say it to me, you say it to everybody, and that's not good. But
yeah.
people use that against you. And I was trying to just give power up to that. You know what I'm saying? But boy,
No,
but
of
I mean, it's
course.
a habit. Habits are hard to break, and it's a
Yeah,
habit by UK, US, or Western world, just put into perspective,
yeah,
whether that's Australia, the EAU, we ain't getting political, but you get my point.
yeah,
Anything that's
yeah.
got a sense of language and justification behind their elevation, let's put it like that, my G.
I mean, the thing is like, them was where it's like you don't have to say sorry. Like, I
Mhm.
tell them it's like, bro, stop saying sorry because you're not sorry. Just say my bad or my bad or pardon. Like, just that's it. Like,
Or
I
excuse
want you,
me, and,
yeah, no,
maybe say I'm sorry and expand upon it. Don't really say I'm
no, it's
sorry. I don't
yeah.
mind saying sorry, but if you don't expand why you're sorry, and if
Like,
you,
why are you sorry? Like,
yeah, and
are
I
you
have to
sorry
ask her
because
after. Yeah, I have to
I mean,
ask why you
some people,
sorry.
I think, yeah,
Yeah,
and then some people
definitely
feel it's
ask
like,
her.
oh, I'm sorry because it's like I said, you don't hurt my feelings. You haven't done anything to
Mhm.
offend me.
I know what
You
you
know what I
mean.
mean?
No, I fully know what you mean. Trust me, I've gone through that. I'm confused when people do that stuff. But habitual behavior it's not a faulty thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's something that one has to break. You know what I'm saying? And I've had habitual behaviors that I had to break.
yeah,
So I'm not gonna.
same.
And I'm sorry, it's nice, man. I appreciate people who apologize for the most petty things and the most. But it shows they can apologize for big things. But when it's petty
I don't
things like
know.
that, don't ever apologize like that ever. Not even to me. I'm like, why are you saying sorry? I just corrected you. I didn't correct you out of ignorance or arrogance. It's just, I think you meant it like this, didn't you? And they're like, yeah. I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, you don't have to be sorry for that. You just we're learning together. What do you mean? You know what I'm saying? Don't
Yeah,
apologize. But that's me trying to strengthen that person. That's not because if I want to be arrogant, I'm like, yeah, you better be. Like, or I don't know, I don't do that. I ain't got that ego in me. I haven't got those levels, but I just warning that person, just don't do that a lot. Like just because I've got that respect and protection for that individual, just because they don't deserve to be saying sorry to other brothers and mother effers and all of that kind of crap. But boy, yeah, if I can intervene, I will.
I
In a
would say
healthy way again.
I would just say to anyone there, you should never apologize for being who you are. Never
Mm.
apologize for being who you are. Like, I'm gonna say this from an egotistic perspective. If someone didn't like me for the wrong reason, I ain't gonna say sorry to them. I'm like, listen, that's a you problem.
Mm.
That's not my fault. That you got issue with me. Now, if I did something directly to offend you, I'll take ownership and acknowledge it and I apologize it. But my insistence annoys you, bro, that's a you problem, not me. I'm gonna look at that, bro. You just sort your own issue out. Like I remember one of my friends
I
saying, like,
agree.
Duncan. I remember one of my friends saying, like, Duncan, I can't imagine anyone not liking you. And I said to my friend, if someone didn't like me, that's a them problem, not me. In the day, that's
Mm.
them. I'm not.
And not
I'm not
everyone's here to be liked. I'm definitely not
liked.
here to be liked. Yeah. You
I
see my
told,
fucking poetry, you'll know I'm not here to be liked. Yeah, everyone knows that. I don't even recommend people read my poetry if you've got like an overall like open mind and an open heart because you're gonna find something offensive. And lucky I don't get questioned a lot, but I rather people avoid where I say certain things because like, yeah, that means that's for you being nice. Because if you challenge it, I'm willing to talk about what I write about. I'm not scared of that because
but
most of my
you know, it's funny
images
enough.
are from such.
You know, I think enough. So it's funny enough you say it because the most hated people on the planet are the ones that are true to themselves the most.
Bro, look at Tupac. Look what they did to him for that. I look my mate. I only mentioned that as a quick man. Anyone else, I
Yeah,
can't really
yeah,
mention.
yeah,
As a man that I respect, Percy's,
yeah.
and who brought me into my thought process and Wu Tang. But Tupac was more so than Wu Tang because I heard Tupac first. eventually got into Wu-Tang. But that's an example of he
Yeah,
was vulnerable. But that's, I don't want to get deep with Tupac. That's a we can
yeah.
bro, we can have another hour about yeah. I think
We could talk. We could
different
talk.
thoughts.
We could talk about how music or creativity
Yeah,
forms
yeah,
of
influence our
vulnerability.
vulnerabilities and our truth expression. Now you're right.
Interesting.
We could we'll have that conversation one day. Me and you will have
Yeah,
that. I put
no, of
freestyle
course,
conversation. Freestyle.
definitely.
But back to the point
Yeah,
of like 'cause I didn't know what it's 8:30 almost, but I need some dinner. And bro, this conversation is deep. Now I just fucking know what time it is in the UK. I didn't even clock is near that time, bro. Like I'm gonna
I
get
know.
myself eating, and 'cause I know I've got work tomorrow, so I don't want to be on some half lethargic. Oh man! But this conversation was so what's the word? Fulfilling. Like I'm full of this
Yeah,
conversation. I'm not gonna lie. To be fair, I'm probably gonna have 2 bites of my potatoes and go, oh, but me and Doug had a deep conversation. I'm not even hungry right now. It's weird. When I'm excited, I don't get hungry. That's what I know. And this is exciting conversation, bro.
I think it's funny. This conversation actually opened us to doors and opportunity and pure rawness and material. And
Yeah, and
I
I
think
can't
this,
wait to see where we go with this because I know we're gonna go
yeah,
further.
yeah. No, I mean, this, like I said, this conversation, and I hope some men were in the audience actually collate to this as well and actually appreciate the honesty as well, because it takes a lot of man to be raw in this and actually show his humility and his silliness and his dumbness. You know what I mean?
I love that part of myself. Yeah, man. Just I love doing car rules for no reason around my estate. I love jumping over walls to see if I still got it.
Yeah. Like, it's like just showing people, hey, it's okay not to be okay. You know, it's okay not to be okay, you know? Like, there's times when you're down, it's let people know you're down, but it's not permanent. It's only temporarily.
And life tends to be in all formats, not
Yeah.
life. In what you said
Yeah.
there, that's a good example of temporary. Unless you want to stay in the darkness. I mean, that's another conversation another day. I'm going to talk about men in their darkness, and because I've had a lot of men that have been isolated and now they're in, in heaven's placements. But that's another conversation because that's how real loneliness and isolation can be, like in different ways. And I don't want to end it there. So I end it on the positive note. This was a great conversation, despite
Yeah.
the elevation. And by the time I get off this phone, I'm sure I have a lyric of creation based on this bars.
I mean, like I said, it was great and definitely. And also to the audience, check out Ray's work. Like I said, especially
Mhm.
women, check out her work. She's doing a good
Definitely, I'm
job.
gonna pick that up for sure. That's
Like, you
definitely. I'm not
know,
gonna even pretend like the quotations are there and the growth is there, and evidently that's an opposition of what we're talking about. But someone who can basically also parallel what we're saying in
Mhm.
a healthy way. You know what I'm saying? Not just in a ranting way or trying to
Yeah, of
challenge
course.
me. Yeah, 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 yeah.
And
So
definitely, I mean,
definitely.
like I said, I mean, you can find our work on Stage of Time as well. I mean, obviously, we couldn't do the Stage of Time live because due to variation. But hey, more to come with the Stage of Time and the more references and conversations as we go along because more men, if you're watching this video, can relate to this. Like I said, free to message us, DM us, and, if you've got any more questions for us, like I said, we're able to answer these
Yeah,
questions for
we're
you.
willing to answer these questions, man. We're willing to
You know
go
what I mean?
open mic on this thing. You get me? We're going to bring a new thing to Substack. This ain't no act. We try and chat them. I'm joking. Everyone is. That's what I love about it. But we like to do it in our way. Nah, that's not
Yeah,
me. I'm big up everybody here. I'm not even going to front that because I know
yeah,
if I get off this live and I start checking people's works, I'm like, yeah, I relate to that. I'm about that. So I love it. I love it all. And I love all that kind of, give a recall to their
hmm,
feelings and expressions. I love it. I love it.
yeah,
Not like I love this. This is what I
yeah.
mean. So I wanna definitely put it on
And
that
like I
note.
said, so all the people who watch this video, thanks for watching, staying tuned, and like I said, you felt
Yeah,
something,
shouts
like I
out to
said,
you
good.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
shout
no,
out to
you're
you
right,
guys,
bro.
and
All
it
of you,
takes, like I
like, and
said,
yeah, no, bro. This was a good conversation. I'm glad anyone who
yeah,
heard this, it was meant for them. That's cool synchronicity. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like, of
and
well, we tuned in at the right time. You can watch the playback, but the front end, we ain't fronting in any format. So,
And like that,
yeah,
it's like, you gotta give it to the audience at the same time because it takes some real courage to actually sit there and actually feel vulnerable themselves to come and listen and actually
that's
feel
true.
like they've been heard. They've been heard.
Hmm. No, you're right. I like that. I like that as an outro. You've been heard, and watch out for Sage and Time because we got more word or words plural.
Yeah. So it's good though, definitely, these conversations. But listen, yeah, I'm out of bounds. But like I said, this is a great conversation. Much love to you. And
We'll
like I
be
said,
catching
before
up
I give
again,
you
man.
no,
Thank you,
definitely
man.
100%.
And this is
No,
healthy, but I
definitely.
feel free now, bro. I feel that I don't know when to eat right now. I'm gonna take a little break and just chill. I'm full up with this conversation. So thank you for this. And yeah, we'll
Definitely.
chat more, Sage, and I'll see you in the time. Boom.
Peace. Definitely. Much
Yeah,
love.
peace and love. Yeah,
Peace, love.
nothing but love. Respect, man.
Love. Respect.
Peace.
Respect.
Go.
Peace. Cool.
Boom. Boom.